Hello, can you hear me? Okay, so today's talk it's my third talk in this conference, but this one is not technical at all. So if you're expecting some technical materials, I will disappoint you. But if you decide to remain seated, I'm sure that you will find some useful information in this session. So what is this talk about? How to look for a job. Will outsourcing hurt your career? By the way, I do this talk in America too. I already did it once and I will be doing it again pretty soon. Outsourcing as I see it from the USA. Outsourcing as you see it from India. And in this area I will need your help, and if you have some complaints and if you don't like something, I will give you a chance to speak up a bit later. How to work as an employee or as a contractor? What is your salary? Should you even ask this question? Should you answer if somebody will ask you this question? How to keep your skills up to date? So all these are the subjects that I'll be talking about today. This talk is not politically correct, and but at least I always say what I think. I was already introduced, so I will not do this again. So let's start from the very beginning. We'll go over the career starting from the moment when you are graduated from the college. Again, I did not adjust this talk technically, it didn't adjust for India, so what I say here, I say in the United States as well. So the question is, if you want your son or daughter to be a programmer, to go to IT. I want it definitely, because I like what I do. I do it for more than 25 years, and I have two boys. The older one is already graduated from college last year, and he is an artist. And he plays guitar and released the CD. My younger one said that he wants to be a doctor, so I don't have a chance to have another programmer. It's just me and my wife. But actually it's good enough for a family. 2 programmers per family. But in the United States, enrollment in computer science is on decline. I know this firsthand also because I also a part-time professor at New York University. People don't go there. People don't see that they will easily find a job. Some people are scared of outsourcing, and it's on decline. This is obviously, the other reason is that you always have to learn if you want to be a programmer and successful programmer. I would say software engineer, it's a better word. I can tell you this story. I was standing on the bus stop last year, and I was hearing the conversation. There were 2 guys. I think it was a brother and a sister. She was 25, and she was saying, you know what? This and this and this happened 16 years ago, and she was telling about something that happened before. And you were 9. No, or she said, how old were you back then? And he picked up the cell phone and started to do something. I thought that he wanted to call someone, but actually he was using calculator to figure out how old was he. So 25 minus 9 is a difficult job these days. So, and this is a test for you. If you have a son or a daughter, and if you are thinking that they might want to go pursue programming career, don't listen to these stories saying that he won't go there because he's not too good at math or something complex. Just during the dinner tonight, all of a sudden say, how much is 25 minus 9? And if it will take more than 10 seconds, I don't think this is the right career for your child. So unfortunately, I see this a lot with all these cell phone and everything. Now, let's say you still went to college and you are out of college. You are immediately at a catch-22 situation. They want experience, right? They need a person with experience, and we will not give you a job unless you have experience. But how I'm going to experience if you don't give me a job? So what to do in these cases? So in these cases, some people lie on the resumes, saying that I did this and this and this for so many years. Some people try to join open source projects, and obviously this is a bit better than lying on the resume. But I can tell you, I went through all stages of programming career, starting from coder, and now I am a business partner in a company and we hire a lot of people. I've been interviewing a lot of people. I was working as a full-time employee. I was working as an independent contractor. So I've seen different things. So basically, if I am interviewing you, and if you are lying to me, I know that you're lying to me. But it doesn't mean that I will not hire you. I will not tell you that you're lying to me. But if I see an intelligent person, technically in a good shape, with some stories on the resume, and if this person, I think, can do the job that I have now at hand, I'll hire you anyway. I will give you a chance. I understand the problems, I understand why it happens. Again, not that I'm saying that you should lie, but I check technical abilities of people. Now, can you trust online posting? How do you look for a job? Like 15, 16 years ago, we used to purchase, I live in New York area, so we used to purchase this fat newspaper, New York Times, and there were pages and pages of ads for software engineers. And we were trying to purchase this paper early, like Sunday edition was available at Saturday night in some places, so we were hunting for that. And these ads were real, because it cost a lot of money to put an ad in New York Times. Now, these days, everything is a bit different. So we have all these online job search engines. And if you will start going through them, I'm not familiar with what engines do you use in India, but there are different. For example, Monster.com, Dice.com in America, this is what we use. You can see that the same ad come over and over again. And if you will watch it close enough, you will figure out that some of them are definitely not true. Probably these companies, these employers purchased like subscriptions so they can put ads without having any extra cost, so they are not real. You call them and they don't have this position anyway. It doesn't mean that you don't have to work with them, but you have to use them, but carefully. The other big no-no, I would say, is don't publish your resume online. All these search engine offers you to do this. I think it's bad. First of all, if you are a good software engineer with some experience, you should have other means to find interviews. Not jobs, but interviews. And recruiter knows this. Recruiters assume that if you publish your resume online, you are desperate. And you will take anything they wish. I mean, they will treat you differently. They will work with you differently. Now, what real estate agents and recruiters have in common? Do you use real estate agents over here in India when you want to buy an apartment? Right. So in our country, we have real estate agents that represent buyer and real estate agents that represent seller. But there is no such a thing that an agent that represents a buyer. They also represent the seller. Even though he's on your side, he wants you to buy this property as quick as possible, and he can get the commission sooner. The same story with job recruiters. They always represent the employer, even though they present you, but they want to push you in, because again, they make a commission. Does it mean that it's bad? It is not bad, but you need to understand that, and you need to play by the rules. We need them, they need us as programmers. And also, you need to play by the rules. I've heard stories, I have recruiters that I know over the years, and I've heard stories that people just don't show up. For example, she puts you through the interview, you pass the interview fine, and she said, you have to be there. Your first day at work is Monday the 16th, for example. And all of a sudden, you're not there. I mean, first of all, this is really bad. Why didn't you call her and say that, and said that you decided to change your mind? That's okay. But remember, we live in a very small world. New York City is a big city, but there is only a limited number of openings at any given time. And several recruiters know about these openings, and several recruiters will try to place you there. So you'd better be nice with recruiters because you need them. Don't burn bridges. So the next is, what is your first job in IT? Does it matter? In my opinion, it does matter. You need to get a job, the first one. You don't know who you are. You don't know how good you are. You don't know if any job is what you want to do. So take it. And take it and spend the first year figuring out what exactly do you want. Maybe software career is not for you. Maybe you will remain in IT, but you will become more of a business analyst or something. So get it and try to figure out what's right and what's wrong. Learn how to work with a team. It's one of the very important skills that you need to figure out. You need to learn how to talk to business users. Many students in America especially, they assume that being a software engineer, it means you go to work, you put on iPod, turn it on, and you create cool web widgets. And that's your work. So you don't put your earbuds at 9 in the morning and take them out at 5. This doesn't work this way. So you need to learn communication. You need to learn how to work with business people. And the first year of your career is basically for that. How to work with other people in your team, with other programmers, how to work with business users, how to manage time, and how to deliver what is expected from you. And basically, I give you an assignment. And I say, this and this and this should be done by, say, next week. You said, okay, and I expect you to do this by next week, by this date. And the date comes and you say, you know what, I wanted to do better. I wanted to improve something, and because of that, I was not able to finish it in time. But when I will finish it, it'll be much better than what you requested. Guess what? I don't need better. I need exactly what I asked you by 16th. The thing is that as a manager, I know my responsibility, and I know how to decide what is more important for me now. Push something out the door or do better but later. So managing your time is also a very important skill. If you say that you will be done, do this. If you cannot, say it in advance. Everybody is a human being, and it's not like enemy that somebody will kill you if you will not do this. And the next topic is this game that is called looking for a job. And as I put it, I would separate it into 3 separate processes. One is getting the interview. I call it the IPO pattern. Second one is passing the interview. And the third one is considering the offer, if you get the offer, of course. And I want to stress, I don't know how to stress it strong enough, that you have to solve each of these tasks independently, absolutely separately. This is not the same job. So if, I don't remember if I put it on the slide or no. No, okay, so if you need, step number 1, you need to get an interview. And what do you need to do to get an interview? You need to have a good resume. And this is the only thing, this is your main goal when you look for a job at this stage, getting the interview. You read an ad, you found out that they need a person with these skills. You always work with your resume. You have some skills. Maybe, say today they need a web developer. Tomorrow, the other ad says that they need a person who knows Java and messaging, JMS in Java, for example. If you are sending a resume to the company that needs a web developer, try to find whatever you have in your resume about the web and put it up front, up on top. In the summary, summary should be a couple of lines only. Don't put any junk in there like looking for a challenging position that will improve my career or something. Real estate is expensive on the resume, guys. Recruiters or hiring managers don't have time to read the resume. They have maybe 10 seconds first. They look at it and they throw it away, throw it away, throw it away. They will look at the first couple of lines. Give them the meat over there. If they ask a web developer, put up front a web developer. Don't be lazy. And the very same day, you will take the same resume, and that company needs a person who knows GMS. Go ahead and figure it out. What did you do there? What do you know about it? Move it up. You are not lying. You are adjusting your resume. And you need to take it very seriously. Don't be lazy. So work with your resume. And this is, again, your main goal is to get interview, not the job. Maybe you will not pass it. Maybe you don't like it. Get the interview. Get the foot in the door. Get that appointment. That's your job. And concentrate on it and work with your resume, of course. Second, say you did fine. You got the interview. Now you need to pass this interview somehow. This technical interview, right? How to do that? It's not difficult at all if you will get prepared. Again, how this works from the other side. Say developers are working and we have a candidate. When I was working as a developer, my manager would stop by and saying, Yakov, you know what, we have a candidate. Can we interview him tomorrow? I will say, of course, yes, but I don't have fun at all interviewing people. It's not useful for me in any way. It distracts me from my work. I know that I will spend half an hour listening to something that is half true, half not true, and I need to try, during half an hour, I need to try to figure out what this person actually knows. So this is not fun for me. Now, you're sitting on the other side of the table, talking to me. Why won't you help me? Why should I try to pull out of you your skills and what you know? Why won't you do your homework? So prepare, go through your past works in IT and software. Try to find something really interesting and challenging that you did some time ago. And prepare the stories. These stories must be well prepared. Test it on your wife. It doesn't matter if she is a programmer or not. Tell it to her. Or test it on your colleague. And this should be well rehearsed stories about some challenging parts in the software industry. If you don't have it, if you can't find it, go online, see what people are talking about. Find the story there, but you'd better well research the story. Because if you don't know that story well, I'll figure it out and you're out. So now the interview starts and I'm saying, for example, Satya, what? Tell me about this, tell me about that. I'm trying to figure out what questions to ask. And you can always, no matter what I will ask you, you can always switch and move the conversation towards those stories that you prepared. I will ask you about something else, but you'll say, you know, Yakov, let me tell you something challenging that I did before. And I'm happy too, by the way. I don't need to come up with these stupid questions. I will be sitting, relaxing, and listening to your story. And if you're doing good, that's good enough for me. If I can see that you understand the subject, it's well researched, and you know what you're talking about, what else should I need? You don't know my project, that's fine. If I'm talking to an intelligent person, that's good enough. So if you will do something like this, you will never fail the interview. Back in '93, I was doing Power Builder, I think. Power Builder and Sybase. My friend, he learned back there something called characteristics function in Sybase. Special way to write SQL statement, and it's very, very productive. You multiply it by -1, you take signs and this and that, and it does in one pass instead of writing cursors, whatever. Nobody else knew this. I mean, not nobody else, but very small people. So the chances that when he goes to an interview, the chances that interviewer knows and would ask about it were 0. But he would never leave an interview without telling about these characteristic functions. You can always find a way to talk about it and impress the person. So if you do it like that, the failure rate will be a lot less. But again, it's a separate step, passing the interview with flying colors. All right, one more thing, I didn't put it as a separate item, but it's very important to leave the building properly after the interview. I can tell you one of the stories. And again, this story, one of the recruiters that I trust, she told me this story. The guy went to an interview in New York. He did very good, all technical interview, several people, great. And it was the winter time, and there was like a reception and secretary. When he was coming back from an interview, he asked her, "Where's my coat?" She put it somewhere. She said, in this closet. She opens up the closet, and obviously there's many coats there, and she asked him, "Where is yours?" And she said, "Mine is the best." He was out. He was not hired. You understand the attitude. So the guy didn't leave the building properly. Shut your mouth and go home. You're done. So people don't need prima donnas in the companies. He's good technically, that's fine. But who needs the person every day who has the best code? Nobody. Next, when you left the building, immediately take a piece of paper and take notes. What did you answer? How did you answer? What did you do good? What did you do bad? Don't do it at home. By the time you will arrive home, you will forget. Immediately, fresh. Write it down, go home, do your research, improve, fix whatever you think that you entered improperly, and do better tomorrow. So, you left the building. Considering the offer. Now, again, it's absolutely separate topic. You don't have to take it. Even if you pass the interview. Now sit at home, talk to your wife, and decide you want it or you don't want it. If you don't want it, fine, don't take it. But again, it's absolutely separate step. So if you will do it like this, I think your life will be a bit easier in this regard. Now, say you work. How to look for another job? You decided to move. You need to look for another job when the sun is bright and the grass is green. Not when they will kick you out or you feel that they are about to kick you out. You need to look for a job when everything is fine. When you don't have a pressure of paying monthly bills. Then you can look for a job quietly. You can consider offers. You can reject the offer and so on. But if you are about to be out anyway, you will take anything that they will offer and you are in a bad position. So why do you want to leave? Making a couple of rupees more, it's not a reason for leaving. What I consider a reason, I think a reason is a better, well, I don't want to lie to you. Obviously money is important. But I'm talking about, I don't know how to convert it in your salary. I don't know exactly how much you make. But making a little bit more, if you will spread it over 12 months and if you will calculate taxes, it's nothing. It should be a real big jump in money to be the only reason for leaving. But working with different technologies, with more hard technologies, this can be a reason, even if you will make the same amount of money or maybe a little bit less. How to resign? You decided to leave the company. You have to make it really nice. You never burn bridges. This monitor doesn't work. Can anybody turn it on? So you don't resign just because you're angry with your boss. Never. First, have something else, and then resign. You don't like your boss, it's natural, that's okay. But start looking. Not just shut the door and leave. You will be always in disadvantage, or at a disadvantage. Give always a couple of 2 weeks notice. Couple, I mean one in writing, and the other one just in person. You work with these people so much time. Be nice to them. They deserve to know that you decided to move. It's not a big deal. Again, it's not an end of the world, and people, at least in the United States, understand there are better opportunities, people go. But be nice to them. Remember, in a month or in a year maybe, somebody will ask you for references. Don't burn bridges. Leave nicely. You're going to be calling them again. And the chances are that you may be working for them again too. It's life. And obviously don't accept a counter offer. It's a golden rule. Say you make $50,000 and somebody offered you $55,000 a year and you decided to leave. And you tell this to your boss, and boss say, you know what, I'll match. I like you, I like the way you work, stay. They give you 55, I'll give you 55, stay and work for us. You should never do this. You should never work. First of all, the trust is over. Your boss knows that you are on the way out. These 5,000 extras that he promised you a year is nothing. Again, divided by 12 months, less tax, and so on. But what he will do, he will immediately start looking for replacement for you. Typically. I don't say that there is no exceptions, but Typically, this is the case. This is what I would do. I would match your offer, but I would slowly try to find somebody to replace. I will hire a person. I will ask you to do a knowledge transfer nicely. And I will find a good way in a month or 2, or maybe 3, to say, sorry, we don't have money, we have to eliminate this position. So, counter offers, I don't take counter offers. Actually, now nobody makes me counter offers, but still, don't do this. Another trap, don't give advices to your boss on the way out. It's a typical situation, like in large corporations, especially in America, like HR person will say, maybe we did something wrong, Yakov, you're leaving, you're so good, we want to improve. So the next people, we will do better, so they will not be leaving our company. Tell us, please, what did we do wrong? And this is a trap. And you feel very important, and you decided to tell them how to run their business, and what did they do wrong. Remember, in a month, you're going to be calling them for references from new employer. In 6 months, in a year. Don't do this. They know how to run their business. It has no pluses in any way, your advice. You decided to leave, go home. And of course, don't post any negative blogs about your company. The company you quit is not nice. Next, contractors versus employees. Who are these contractors? Contractors work for money. There is no any other reason. If they will tell you that I am a contractor because I like to do new technology, this is wrong. They work for money. They want to make more money than a regular employee, but they deserve it because they are temporary people. They know that they may have a break between assignments. They know that they may be out of work. They work for money. They don't have career goals. They don't want to be your boss. They don't want to take your position. In that regard, relations are pretty healthy. If you come as a contractor, if I am the boss on this project, I don't see you as an enemy. I understand that you came and you will leave. Sooner or later you will go and you don't have any plans. And I don't need to fire you. You will be, the project is done, you go. Very healthy, easy. In the United States of America, there are 2 major types of work as a contractor. One of them is so-called on W-2 form, and the other one is on 1099. On W-2 means that they will withdraw all your taxes and you will just get the net after taxes. On 1099, or if you will create a corporation, it could be one-man corporation, it's like $300 in America. In that case, they don't take any taxes from you, you get all the money, but you are responsible for paying taxes. But you can have some advantages of writing off some expenses as business-related expenses. For example, you drive to work, you use gas, you buy computers, you buy book, and so on. So there are different ways to decrease the taxable amount. So many people work as a corporation. Most contractors work through third-party companies. So if I will work for IBM, for example, I wouldn't be working directly for IBM, I will be working through this consulting company. And consulting company obviously makes some markup on you. You make this much an hour, and they make that much an hour. And what is the markup is none of your business. This consulting company spends so much time and efforts. I don't know what did they do to earn this account, say with IBM. So it's their choice and it's their expenses. They can charge any markup they want. Don't have bad feelings. This is their job. This is how they make money. If you think that you are underpaid, that they offer you less, go and find somewhere else. But don't blame them, and counting their money, it's not needed, not required. So be a contractor if your title is not important for you, you'd like to have a chance to work often with different clients, different technology, and you like learning and keeping your skills up to date. And you hate corporate politics, for example. It's another reason. And you like different environments, basically. When to be an employee. If your title is important for you, if you're planning to make a career in this company, maybe job interviews are stressful for you. It could be a reason. You don't want to jump all over the place and passing these interviews. You need good medical coverage. In the USA, it's maybe specific to USA. I don't know how it works over here, but In some cases, especially when people have some chronic diseases, they stay with the employer just because of the medical insurance, because it's very expensive. To buy a one-person medical insurance without being employed, it's easily like $12,000, $15,000 a month. So it could be a good reason. How to compare incomes? Say, let's take this use case. If you can read it, I'll read it for you. Say Mary is single. She works as a full-time employee for a large corporation. Her annual gross salary is $70,000. She is in 33% tax bracket. She has also 2 weeks of paid vacation, 10 paid holidays, and 5 sick days. Mary pays $300 a month for medical insurance. That's the setup today. Now she considers a 1-year contract that pays $50 per hour, has no benefits, on corp-to-corp basis, means IBM Corporation pays your corporation, or this consulting company pays your corporation. So the question is, will Mary's bank account be merrier if she takes this offer and become a contractor? How do you say? What do you think? What is better, to get $70,000 deal a year with all these benefits, or $50 as a constructor? What do you think? Be an employee? All right, let's do some math. So let's look at this table. On the left-hand side, she makes $70,000 multiplied by 33%, it's tax, so $23,000 will be taken off, right? Medical insurance for 12 months is $3,600. So she brings home 70K minus 23 minus 3,600, $43,300. It's her net income. That's the deal today. Now let's look. Let's say she takes $50 contract with that other company. How it goes? A year has 52 weeks, but you cannot take just the money, hourly money, multiply by 40 hours a week, and multiply by 52 weeks. Why? Because we want to compare apples to apples. Remember, she had 2 weeks paid vacation, and she had 10 paid holidays, right? So, and 5 sick days. So I subtract 52 weeks minus 2 weeks, and minus 1. Let's say 47 paid weeks to be fair. So her gross income for 40-hour week is $94,000, gross without taxes. By claiming some of her expenses as business related, she can reduce your tax eligibility to 30%. So tax is $28,000. Medical insurance becomes much more expensive. I put $800, maybe more, $9,000, and her annual income becomes $56,000. So she brings home now $43,000, having $70,000 salary, but now if she will use $50 an hour, it will be 56. It's not important what are the absolute values. I'm just telling you how to compare apples to apples if you will be in this situation. Each additional week of non-billable time, she may have it. I gave you a perfect case scenario. She has a year contract without any breaks. But every week will decrease this amount somewhat. Outsourcing. Outsourcing, as I see it from the United States of America. Outsourcing started maybe 6-7 years ago, like real big time. And many people try to present that it's very inexpensive to hire people in India, of course, and in other countries as well. But technically, this is not exactly right, because lower hourly rate have to be multiplied by longer hours. Because a person who is sitting next to me and a person who is sitting over the ocean, it's absolutely different story. Not because people over the ocean are stupid or something. No, it's much more difficult in terms of communication. Time difference, plus they may not understand exactly what you want from them, and unfortunately, some people are trying to say, I don't understand. When you get an assignment, make sure that you understand it. If you don't understand it, say, I didn't get it. Can you please repeat? It's much better than just leave and tomorrow return with something that was not expected. So you need to definitely ask questions to clarify your assignment. Now, if you are sitting over the ocean, I need to write more detailed specs. If the person sits in the next cubicle, if he doesn't understand something, he'll stop by, and in a minute I will tell him what did I mean. It doesn't work with you because you are not here. You cannot just stop by my cubicle. So this also has overhead. Now, how you see outsourcing from your side? Obviously, I would suspect that you would say that American project documentation sucks. Is it so? Yes or no? See, why you're afraid? Don't worry. I will not tell anyone. It sucks. Unfortunately, a lot of managers in the United States are mediocre, and they don't understand that dealing with offshore team requires additional efforts. They just say, I can get a person for $50,000 a year, and if this person will be a team lead in that team, offshore team, and that's great. I don't know if it is great, but you need to work also more with that person. So obviously, I'm sure that you've been in a situation like you are hired for a project, they expect you to deliver something, but they cannot prepare the infrastructure for you. You don't have access, you don't have databases, computers are not ready, logon are not installed. So I understand obviously your pain as well. But I often give these advices to United States managers who are working with offshore teams. You shouldn't accept a pre-staffed team from overseas. You need to interview every candidate. Unfortunately, in many cases, not in many cases, in some cases, United States managers assume that our big company works with this big company, say Infosys or Satyam or Tata, and that's good enough. What I believe that people should interview every candidate, regardless of if he's living in the States or overseas. Don't leave the office until each of our programmers has an assignment for tomorrow. So this is a big problem. 24 hours difference, you didn't say what to do, you're losing money and you're losing hours. People don't do anything, and it's your fault. Don't let geeks manage offshore teams. I've been in this situation, and we had a situation, he's a very good programmer, and he became a manager of a team in India, and he found a friend who was also a good programmer in India, and they had a good time, and deliverable was not done. Make sure that your assignment is understood, of course, and if your offshore project failed, don't blame Bangalore, look in the mirror. Now, it's an interesting topic that is called, what's your salary? Salary is the most confidential information in the United States of America. So, you should not tell anyone what is your salary. And I'll tell you more, you shouldn't even ask what is someone's salary. And people who are entitled to know this number already know. There is no need. Only your boss, HR, and sometimes your spouse know this secret number. And let's consider several use cases. For example, Joe and Larry, use case number 1. Joe and Larry are colleagues working for the same company. They have great relations and perform similar duties. After having a couple of beers at a corporate party, Larry says, Joe, you did a really great job on this project, and I hope they give you a good bonus. And Joe is flattered, and obviously plus beer. He says, of course, they gave me $10,000 bonus. And now Larry responds, wow, that's great, that's cool, but Larry is very disappointed because he thinks that he was also working pretty hard on this project, but he didn't get this much as Joe. So they don't go for a beer anymore. So this was use case number 1. Use case number 2. Many years ago, Sandy and Max have graduated from the same college. And Max decided to look for a job. And he said, Sandy, you know what, we've been studying in the same college. For a long time I didn't look for a new job. Can you tell me what I can expect? how much to ask for when I will be looking for a new job. And he said, I don't know how much you will ask, but you know my skills, we have similar skills, we've been studying together. So I make $90,000 a year with my skills. But the problem is that Max, during all these years, he was working on his PhD. Now he's working on some research lab and does a lot more complex stuff, but he makes only $60,000 a year. And his wife figured it out, and you know when your wife figures something out, when it comes to somebody else's salary, it's never healthy, so they are not friendly anymore. Now, speaking of ads, when you even don't say how much you make when you are applying for a job to your new employer. Say a company put an ad saying, we need a software engineer with these skills, and the salary range is from $70,000 to $80,000 a year, for example. Today, your currently salary, say, is $68,000, and they advertise for from 70 to 80. But first of all, you need to realize, when they give you the range, they always want you to give you the lower number, right? 70, not 80. When they say from 70 to 80, they mean 70. Now, you go there and the HR person or hiring manager, they will ask you about what's your current salary. Remember, it's 68. You should never say that 68. You should say something like, I'm looking for a more challenging job and I am open to any fair offer. If I'm qualified for the job, I'll be happy to work for you. Do whatever it takes to not say that you make 68,000. If they force you to fill out the application form where there's a field how much you make today, leave it blank. Most likely it'll go through fine. But there's a rule that the first person to mention the number loses. That's the rule. So don't do that. So let them figure out. If they will not give you what you expect, that's fine as well. But if you will start saying about your $68,000, you definitely lose. So, and it doesn't make sense to brag about your salary. Say you believe that you did great. You started with $60K a year. In 5 years, you did great, and now it's $120K a year. So you tell your neighbor saying, you know what, I had a great career. I doubled my salary, and now I'm making $120,000 a year. The other guy was smart. He didn't say anything, but he's making actually $150 a year. He just smiled internally and say, be my guest. So there's so many situations. I have yet to find one case when it's useful to say how much you make. And so don't do this ever. That's the message that I want to give you on this slide. And we are getting to the end of the presentation. Keeping your skills up to date. It's about technical training. And obviously you are in the right place, you are at the conference. Since you decided to select this career, you need to be always in a good shape. So to be successful in general in life doesn't take too much. There's a very simple recipe. Do the same thing that other people do, but do it just a little bit better than others. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a super guru. Just be better than others. And stay where you are. But what does it mean better than others? It means improve your skills. Don't just go to work 9 to 5 and assuming that it'll stay this way all the time. It will not. And when the time will be bad, on the rainy day, you'd better be prepared for something else. So always train. So the fact that you are here, I don't know if you're forced to come here or if you decided to come here, but it's great. Now, how to get trained? Definitely, I assume that you don't have this much freedom in terms of training as in the United States, but if you are entitled for some training by your company, definitely use it. In the United States, I know cases when the company says that every employee can take 2 weeks for training a year, and people don't use it. How come? How can you do something like this? Now, how to train? In some cases, they will force you. They will say, we have authorized training partner and all training classes are done by the company XYZ. What if you will find a better trainer, a better company that will train you on these skills? Go and speak up, talk to your manager and say, I want to go there. What are you going to lose? You will not lose. Very important, who is the teacher? What do they teach is less important than who is teaching. So try to find the best possible training that you can. I can tell you my story. Back in '98, I decided to switch to a different language, which is Java. And I was doing Power Builder for 5 years. I was pretty good at Power Builder. And Power Builder and Java are just different worlds, absolutely, especially back in '98. Nobody knew. Now you are obviously smart. You know this multi-tier architecture, application servers, and this and that. I have no idea how this world works. I was in a client server. I knew Power Builder, I knew SQL, store procedures, that's all. I was set. So what happened is, I was working as an independent consultant back then. I found a training. It cost $2,500 for 5 days out of my pocket because I was an independent consultant. I was not working for a company. I found a training on WebLogic application server back then. And I was lucky, the trainer was really good from BEA. And I think this is probably the best investment I made in my life. It sounds like it's a crazy amount. It's a big amount of money, $25,000 from my pocket for a week. But first, what I did, and I suggest you to do the same, I say I sign up for this training that will take place in a month. But I wasn't sitting waiting for training. I was reading a lot about Java, trying to understand what's going on in there. And then when I arrived to the training, I was ready to ask the proper questions. Instructor was good, and I used that training to my advantage. And I quickly found a new job in Java, and it was super hot in '98. And I knew this application server, understand, plus my background in general. So I didn't lose any money while switching from language A to language B. I started to make more money. So this amount that I invested into training was recovered pretty quickly. So don't save on that. Books, buy books. 5 books a year is a must. I don't care if your employer will reimburse you for that or not. You have to buy books. Some people say, I'm not going to buy books because I have Google these days. It's a big mistake. You go to Google when you know what you're looking for. Something doesn't work for you, then you go to Google and you find the solution for what doesn't work for you. But people who write books, I can tell you firsthand, I recently did my 5th book. It's so difficult. It's like working for 50 cents an hour. You cannot imagine how much time the authors of the books spend to research the subject. And they try to give you a big picture, different examples. Some books are better, some books are worse. But you have to read the whole thing, where people are going, not just Google when you don't know how to cast Java class A to Java class B. What is the syntax? Again, Google is good when you know what you're looking for. 5 books a year is my prescription. Do this. And read them. I also recommend you to read about other languages. If you are Java programmers, I see it's good that you've been listening to the presentation on JRuby or maybe Ruby, maybe whatever. Whatever other language you know, you learn, makes you a better Java programmer. You will learn something different, different techniques, different approach. Go there. I don't know if you have this. I'm lucky, basically. We have a huge bookstore next to our house, Barnes & Noble. And people turned this store into a library a long time ago. You can go, you can sit there, you can browse the book, you sit there and you read for an hour. Nobody will say you a word. Then you put it back on the shelf and you go home. And if you don't have this luxury, buy the book. I don't know if you are allowed to return it like in a month or so, or in 2 weeks maybe. Read it. If you cannot, just buy the book and pay the money and read about it. Make it as a habit. Now, conferences like this, use these conferences to your advantage. You see, I've been in the conference, I speak at probably at least 4, maybe 5 conferences a year in the United States. And I also have been, again, in different stages. Now we have a company, we have a booth, and I'm sitting there. I don't sell anything here. I actually came to India first time. I want to see what's going on over here. We used with outsourcing, outsourced or offshore programmers in other countries. Why not India? There's no reason for why not. So I decided to see how it goes over here. I don't sell anything. Now, all these people who are standing in the vendors area, you cannot believe that, but how much time they spend and how well they are at their products, whatever they will tell you about. Why won't you use them? It's like getting a free trainer. I'm very surprised. I only met like maybe 2-3 people. Today was probably the best guy from Oracle, local Oracle. He was talking to me for 10 minutes. I am sitting there bored. I have nothing to do. Again, people have to put these stamps in this extra passport. So what they do, they just stop by. I mean, half of the people are polite. I don't want to say anything. They don't care about who am I. That's okay, but at least say, hello, please stamp, thank you. But what happened is they just stop by. They don't even look at me. They actually go like this, slap on my table, and keep quiet. I do this, boom, and they leave. A couple of people, she didn't even stop talking on the cell phone. It was like this. She goes like this by my table, and she keeps going. Why don't you use me? Guys, I'm sitting there. I'm ready to talk to you about any technical topics you want. I have one more day. I'm bored. I can go online. I'll keep myself busy, of course. But technical conferences. See, when you go to a technical conference, there is this vendors area. You assume probably that they are enemies, that they are all salespeople. They want to kill you. They want to sell you something immediately. Guess what? They are not. First of all, typically they bring salespeople, if they are there, they bring with them software engineers who are, they call them sales support. They are great. Talk to them. They sell. They are selling a product based on JMS. They sell their messaging. Talk to them about JMS API, how to do things there. Now, if you see, obviously, if they give away stuff, it's you have to go there and get it. If you see somewhere T-shirts laying around and maybe some nice pens, glowing pens, you know these, go and get them. They will say, please leave your business card in this jar. Leave it. Of course, in a month, they will, maybe somebody will call you trying to sell you something, but you will come back from the conference today. Daddy came back from the conference. You will bring your kids a T-shirt, a nice pen, and this and that. Talk to the vendors. They're technical guys. They're not your enemies. So use them. This is your training, guys. And you may not have, again, a chance to talk and to discuss all that. So the fact that you are at the technical conference is very good. And I also like to be here. But these days, mostly, I don't go to technical sessions. I go usually to parties, corporate parties, conference parties. Conferences are basically about meeting people, networking. So this is a very important thing. And I'm glad that I'm here. I didn't learn anything technically new. But I met a couple of people, and maybe we'll have some good business relations, and this is great for me. This is a great outcome. So I know that I remember I was in Java 1 like 2 years ago. Excellent conference, big one. And they have different parties in there. Some people don't even bother attending the conference hall. They're hanging out in these bars next to the area. They're meeting people and this all. So this is how they make business. This is how they get to know other people. And this is how they build their career. So basically, we are out of time, and I'm ready with my slides. I don't know what happened. And I will, on the last slide, I will tell you, I recently wrote a book. It's a politically incorrect book. It's electronic book. It's free download. It's a PDF. I have, beside my company blog where I just write strictly on technical things, I have a personal blog where I write, again, not politically correct stuff. And this book is called Enterprise Software Without the BS. So if you're interested, these materials from this presentation were taken from that book, and obviously from my experience. It's like 150 or 160 probably pages book, so you can read it at your will whenever you want it. And by the way, on the same side, you can click the, like 3 years ago, I've written another e-book, which is also free for download, Java development for kids, parents, and grandparents. So if you want to look at it, it's Java written in a very plain, simple language, so I hope you enjoy it. Many people did. The book is translated in French, if you prefer this language too. All right, thank you very much. If you have questions, please do so. Thank you. If you are shy to ask now, you know where to find me tomorrow and stop by. And I will put a stamp on your passport.